Well, the top side streets are a dangerous place, so you better tune in to a credible face like this one. Yeah, this one. And you know he's not alone, and they're coming in hot. We got a Lake so Stan and a guy who really likes baseball. I don't know why he likes baseball.
What is up, everybody? Welcome. Take two. We got a little happy hour action. It's good to have everyone here. I hope you like that performance art to start the show. We're getting creative with these cold opens. We're getting creative because we do 7 of them a week, basically. So we're running out of ideas. It's going to get weirder and weirder the deeper into it we get. But I'm excited to be back today. We get a lot of fun stuff. I feel like every time it's a little unsure how we're going to make a show go a full hour. Like I got 20 to 30 minutes of stuff. Top Shot or somebody in the universe will be like, here's a bunch of announcements. So we have plenty to talk about today. But before we get to our guest of honor, let's see, who do we got in the house today? We got Roddy Rod, Sneeps is here, Borland, Mac Attack, Coach Stark Holmes. The West Coast people rejoice today. Airplane Mode's here. Who else? Schnapper. Do we have Schnapper and Shepard at the same time? Not yet today. All right. JT Collections, Ransom Reed, Jimmy Peacock. All right. With some lunchtime. Again, the West Coast gang. They're out strong today. Martin's here. Stachunk. Fenny's always here, man. Fenny is like the cooler Poker Pro Eric. Always around. We just enjoy him a little bit more. Doc Delta's here. Mike's here. Garen. Tea time. Look at tea time, baby. Let's go. Tea time. I hope you tuned in this morning. We did a full 30 minutes on UFC Strike, baby. Paul's here. ATC. Chicken Frog. Or again, we'll never know. Chicken Frog. We'll never know. We'll never know the the origin story. But I'm excited today. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk, we're going to start in the WNBA. We're going to talk about the drop yesterday, everything that's going on in the league. And then we'll like pivot to some Top Shot stuff. We'll talk about some challenges and then we'll get the hell out of here. But more importantly, we're going to bring on our guest. I think I was trying to figure out the best way to introduce our guest. And I feel like it's the better half of my better half. I thought that was pretty good, right? I thought that was pretty good, Kevin, right? The better half of my better half.
That's a high bar. I feel like Kelsey's gonna have words about this.
Yeah, well, I think she's drunk in Savannah right now, and there's no way she's tuning into this. So I'm not too, not that I needed an excuse for her not to tune into it. I'm sure she wouldn't have been tuning in anyways. But yeah, Kevin, thanks for being here, man. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for having me. You know, I am just trying to. I got about 16 Brianna Stewarts in my drop yesterday, so I'm trying to figure out what to do with those. It may be Stewie Palooza, the next Watch It Work episode. We're just giving them away like Oprah.
Well, I mean, the good news is it feels like we have a lot of flash challenges coming down the pipeline in the W. And Stewie, I feel like, has a 70% hit rate on these. So it feels like she'll get in there.
I think you're absolutely right. How many challenges have we had already this season that like Stewie's been a dupe?
Stewie or Sabrina, right? Who we're dealing with that right now. I think Sabrina's a dupe in one of them, right? Yeah. So before we get into the drop, I was talking to Kelsey about this because I think you guys have been doing a really good job with Watch Your Work. And more importantly, like, I don't know if there's a ton of consistent W content out there right now when it comes to podcasts. I listen to Spinsters and I check out some stuff that Winsider's doing and obviously tune in and get trolled or attempt to troll to what you guys are doing. But I was wondering, like, what's some of the stuff that you've been consuming or also creating to kind of stay on top of what's going on?
I think one of the best things for me to check into when it comes to WNBA, and this is not to be a shill for places that I like already work, but I get to do some part-time writing stuff for Winsider, and once a week they're on playback doing like a Wednesday night game with conversation, and also like every like Monday or Tuesday they're putting out a podcast of just like what they call WNBA stocks, and of everything that like I consume, like that kind of like weekly half hour where they're just talking about like what teams have done, like who's up, who's down. That's a really great check-in for me. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the NBA has, I mean, so much, right? Like you got, I think I have the the NBA Athletic Show puts out something, excuse me, every day. You've got No Dunks putting stuff out just about every day, and then Ringers like 3 or 4 times a week as well. And so and Spinsters really was my only check-in, and I love Spinsters. I think Spinsters are great.
Spinsters is great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so I was always curious because Kelsey too, same thing. She was just kind of like, yeah, I don't even know where to go for a lot of it. So it's good to. I feel like a lot of people probably have that question, and like that's part of the fun in following the sport is having that kind of content to consume in itself, you know. So
and it's such just like it feels just like ramshackle and kind of like Wild West. Because even places that have been around for a while, like let's say like Her Hoop Stats, they do a weekly podcast, they do like 2 times a week newsletters, like in Substack, and still like they're like the only ones. And like I don't think people over there are getting paid if they're doing it. Like there's like 2 people in the world who are getting paid doing WNBA content, and a lot of people do it just are doing it out of passion, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Speaking of, I have to show you something if we're going to talk about podcasts.
Yes,
I got it right here. It came in the mail today.
We get a new microphone. Oh, Take Line
merch.
That's great. That's great. Love Take Line.
I know, and we got to throw it in your face. Like when are?
Oh my god, dude! You know what it is? It is. I need somebody else to do it. That's really where we're at right now. Like we've almost made merch like 50 times, and we go back and forth where you're just essentially breaking even, which I'm fine with. I'm fine. It's not like we're trying to make money off of it. But yeah, I know. I just, you know what? This is actually Greg and Dustin. If you guys are watching right now, I'm live 9 times a week, boys. Set up the merch. All right.
Like there's people that do it. Like it should like. Make a call to Vistaprint. Do something. Like, let's go.
I think we set up a shop at I almost said Spotify at Shopify. Shopify.
There you go.
So we're close. We're getting there. We're getting there. Size 3X is Rowdy Rod. All right, Rowdy, you get the first order in. All right, before again, and I keep saying before we get into Top Shot, because we will talk about the drop yesterday, which was exciting. Can we just like spend a few minutes talking about the Phoenix Mercury? Because I am like loving the drama that's just involved with this. And I think this is the type of stuff though that I know sounds dumb to say this. I think this is great for the game. I think they need this. Like this is what I'm talking about when you have like daily content around something. We're like, wait, hold on. In a world where like, I guess Kyrie's the best example of this, where Kyrie, I could see quote tweeting their coach with clown emoji and just like firing that out. Like that was nuts. So can you give us like a lay of the land of what's going on in Phoenix right now?
Oh my God. Like, where do you even start? So like the Phoenix Mercury in 2021, they go to the WNBA finals. They're within a couple games of hoisting a banner. I think it would have been their 4th.
Yep.
They fall short to Chicago Sky. The organization decides not to bring back their head coach, who'd been there for 8 years.
Liked, right? Like well-liked.
Well-liked. Loved from everyone in the fan base, on the team. Sandy Barnadello is coaching the Liberty right now. Phoenix played the Liberty last night. You saw like the interactions between Sandy and those former players. And it was generally those things are sort of just like quick hug, go on with their day. Like there was serious love shared between there. Like you could tell. Yeah. And so Phoenix has no plan with their new coach. It becomes very clear. It goes 2 months without them hiring a head coach. They end up hiring Vanessa Nygaard, who was an assistant with the Aces last year, has like high school head coaching experience, but like nothing in the W. played in the W a long time ago. And she steps into a situation where the team is like sans BG with that whole situation. So free Brittany Griner. They signed Tina Charles to bring into Skylar Diggins-Smith, Diana Taurasi, and sort of the bulk of this team who was in the finals last year. And since then, like everything that could go wrong with this team has gone wrong. Tina Charles just decides to leave the team, just says, cut me, I'm out. They call it a contract divorce.
Right. And that's the first time I've ever heard that phrase in sports. I've heard like breach of contract. I've heard like freeing them of their contract, but the contract divorce was interesting. They also made it seem like it was mutual. Has there been, like, I'm assuming at the end of the season, someone, probably a Phoenix beat reporter, maybe it's you, Kevin, is going to write a piece on this, and we're going to learn like what actually happened. But is it cut down? Like Mike says, hashtag Robert Sarver season. Like, is it really just that too? Like, are they just trying not to spend money? And they were a couple days away from like not the hard cap, I forget what it's called, but the rest of the contract would have been.
So my understanding is she's still getting paid the bulk of her contract that she has. What it sounds like is, I think Tina has, I mean, saying it without saying it, like Tina has played with a couple different teams over the last 2 years, and those situations haven't gone super well. You look at her situation in Washington last year, and how she sort of left New York the year before that. There was some stuff like in the wake of like her leaving. Couple that with like being a Robert Sarver like owned organization,
right?
It doesn't sound like they were like really willing to like work things out contract wise. So my understanding, if I was going to make a take, it's that like Tina came into this team thinking she would have a larger role, especially without Brittany Griner. Right. She wasn't getting shots. Tina likes to work like back to the basket, like have her handball like in her hands a lot. That's not going to work with Taurasi and Skylar Diggins on your team.
Yeah.
So she's gone. Game after, you see Phoenix players like post game, like screaming into the stands, like F Tina Charles, F Tina Charles. This is like on Twitter. You can find the videos. And we haven't even mentioned Skylar Diggins and Taurasi almost going to fisticuffs on the bench the month before that.
Right.
And so they are sort of like, Phoenix becomes this team that is just sort of like, we are huddling around, we're getting close together, like we're going to find some resolve around this. And then Vanessa Nygaard goes into a press conference, and even though she gives her flowers to Skylar Diggins making the All-Star team, she, for some reason I'm not going to fully understand, she says the All-Star game this weekend in Chicago is not going to be a true All-Star game because Diana Taurasi is not going to be there. That clip of that video ends up on Twitter. Skylar Diggins quote tweets with a clown emoji, and WNBA Twitter, the rest of the media just like blows up. Like all these agencies that I've seen like not cover the WNBA before are like locked in on this and writing so much about this.
Yeah. And I apologize because I think I can see that my Wi-Fi is getting a little grainy, but as long as you can still hear me.
Yeah.
What I think is kind of, and this is, it brought me to like a larger conversation I wanted to have around Diana Taurasi, because I feel like in Sue Bird to some extent too, there's a weird thing happening right now, and I get some of it, but I feel like it's misplaced a little bit where before we jump to that, actually, like with the All-Star game and the comments from the coach, like I get that that's dumb. Like that's kind of, but it also, Diana's like the Jordan, right? Mm-hmm. And I could see a world in which Jordan's on his way out and he doesn't make an All-Star team, and someone being like, yeah, it's going to feel weird being at All-Star weekend without Michael Jordan there. But I think we're at this weird turning point in the league's history. I think it's getting a little bit more exposure now too, to like a broader audience, that there's this weird like takedown almost of DT and Sue. And it feels weird because I agree with what's being said, but it feels like it's at them. And I don't know how much of it should be directed at them versus the people who like publicize things or advertise and market stuff. And it's just, it's a weird.
It's 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. There's this weird, and I put it on Twitter the other day. There's this weird, what did I say? Fatigue about like Taurasi and Sue Bird for getting on like the cover of 2K. for getting a lot of just like airtime in commercials, being at Carmack stuff,
Right.
being in the Final Four, doing like the Red Solo Cup, like goat and bird kind of stuff. But at the same, like these are, you can both hold space for, these are icons of the game and they should be celebrated. And the WNBA has a long kind of yuck history of upholding the stars who are sort of white and present really like feminine, where not that like these folks are the most just like feminine, like,
no,
sort of, like presenting creatures in the world, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially in a world where like Sylvia Fowles has announced her retirement, and has not gotten the same kind of respect, even though she's a co-captain in the All-Star game this year, but not on 2K and not on a lot of the other sort of like W merch or presenting things. So it's a lot of weird stuff there.
Yeah, and Sylvia is a great example too of like, she should probably be with the two of them on the cover of the game, right? Like, and that is the conversation that should be had instead of it being like, we need to get them out of here because this is weird. I'm trying to think of a good analogy, both without, it's not well thought out enough, and it's also in dangerous territory that I'm not trying to like end my career right now. But like, do you know what? It feels like that the only way the conversation can be had is if we put someone else down while we're doing it. And I just don't know if it just doesn't feel helpful right now. I guess like the counter could be like, well, at least it's being talked about. And maybe 5 years ago, we wouldn't see a lot of this on Twitter. So I guess that counter.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of like, from my perspective, it's an and statement. Like there is space to give Sylvia Fowles everything that she deserves in terms of recognition without like cutting off the support for Sue and Diana. But at the same time, I think the league and a lot of the marketing partners that they have to take kind of a look at like, who are the stories that we're telling? Who are we amplifying in this? Because even if you look at some of the things behind this, Breanna Stewart just came out with sort of like her signature shoe. And there's a lot of these conversations that we're going to be having while there's still a league that's like 80% and above Black players. And are they getting 80% or more of the marketing, of the face time with fans? And I'm not sure that that's the case.
Yeah. And also, it's not lost on me that two white guys are weighing in on this right now. I'll put that out there as well. But yeah, it's been fascinating to follow. I mean, it's been great that it's really all over my feed now, and I'm enjoying that. I feel like that's how I'm able to keep up with it a little bit more. Yeah. The one other thing too about the suit, like I've just found, and honestly, this is the closest I've followed the W in my lifetime. So like maybe this energy around Sue Bird has been there before, and I'm being made aware of it now. But I forget who the spinsters were interviewing. I think it was a former player, and they were just kind of like, yeah, it's time for Sue to go. And I was like, this is wild. And they weren't really saying that, but we're kind of saying that. And I guess the one thing or argument around that, it's that there's not a lot of teams, right? So there's not a lot of roster spots. So I guess I get it a little bit more than I would in a normal thing. It just feels so weird to kind of rush goats of the league out, you know?
No, that's a thing that people are doing. There's that same energy for Taurasi. So if you watch Taurasi play a game last night, she had, I think, 23 points. And she contributes in spurts, but if you watch her on defense, like her involvement in the defensive scheme of Phoenix is just non-existent. And so there's a lot of kind of these like murmurs on like WNBA Twitter, and some people like outright saying it is like, she needs to retire. She needs to go, because there's that feeling of, if you only have 140 roster spots, that is taking the place of maybe someone who is going to contribute on both ends and is like maybe a more, I can't even say deserving, because that's not for me to decide who's deserving, but
the role
taking
has
the
to
space
change.
of someone. You
know, like you can't still play she's different now. She's a different player than she was 15 years ago. It'd
She's
be weird
40 years old.
It's nuts.
I'm 37. I can't get out of bed after playing a basketball game. Like I wouldn't be
No.
able to do that.
I
Yeah.
went and play. I actually went and played today around lunchtime, and I'm so upset. I'm so upset that they went and did it. I'm just like mentally, I just don't want to embarrass myself next weekend in Vegas. So I'm like, all right, I got to get out there, got to run around, get some shots up. And it was just like some young guys that were like, hey, do you want to play? And I'm like, I don't, guys, I don't. I'd rather shoot by myself over here. But anyways, I thought it's been fascinating following that, and it's been this weird thing where it's like it's good to see that it's all over the feed now, and I feel like there's way more conversation around it than there was this time last year. But the conversation is it just feels weird. It feels weird.
It's a weird tension, and the same tension exists for this like Diggin Smith, like Vanessa Nygaard thing of just sort of like, I think you can look at it outside and say like, Nygaard 30 seconds before this clip said Skylar is amazing, she deserves a spot, it's going to be great,
right? And
then there's but the other part of like that statement is like, it's a clumsy statement, she shouldn't have said it, but you translate that to Twitter and to sort of like media at large, and it's like Nygaard doesn't know what she's doing, she's got to go, got to support Skylar is taking this way too far, it's a sign of players being out of control. Like the discourse is like, it's cool that it's taking up this much space, but man, it's turning into like first take NBA stuff,
right?
Too, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. There's not enough podcasts. Like if there's going to be this much stuff happening, I need podcasts to like help me understand what's going on.
If you're asking for more Watch Your Work episodes per week, like we'll have to see what we can do.
Don't tell Kelsey I said that though. I think she's gonna be mad if I put anything else on her plate between. Because even when I suggest stuff, I was like, "Oh, are you guys gonna start doing playback?" She's like, "We're getting married in a month. Shut up for a second." I'm like, "All right, you're right. Fair. Also, she's never yelled. That's never happened. I'm the only one that sounds like a psycho. Okay. Also, not at her. That just made it sound like I yell at her. I don't yell at her. That sounded bad. Everybody knows what I meant.
You are walking on eggshells that you left yourself. Yeah.
I know. Listen, let's transition to some of the stuff that was happening on Top Shot in the last on the W side of Top Shot the last couple of days. I forgot to do this at the top, but listen, we're gonna do. Here we go. #Forch. Let's get a giveaway cooking. Let's get a giveaway cooking. #Forch. Like, subscribe, do all the things. I have OTM.
Hey, before I take off from this, and after we get through this Top Shot stuff, I have to see if we want to do a double or nothing on our Kelsey Plum bet for this weekend. Let's go.
Yeah. What is it? You can just do that right now. What's the bet?
Do you want to do it right now? All right. I just saw the list of who's in. Can I share screen?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
You don't even have to ask because you have permission. You have the controls already.
Trying to not make this sound like a work meeting. Can I share screen? So we got our announcements for the 3-point contest tomorrow night for WNBA All-Star Game. And I'm going to guess that if we each pick one person and they hit, I would be willing to exchange 2 KP moments instead of our one.
Well, this is like double or nothing for you, right? Like, so
exactly.
you don't even, this is free money. This is, all right. Well, yeah, but you select first because I think everyone's going to assume I'm going to take Kelsey Plum, and I would want to, but I don't think I'm going to this time.
All right. So if you want to have a little something behind this and we can watch the chat. Oh man, that's small. Can we blow that up? There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So this is what the WNBA released. And this is, you look over here, these are what our percentages look like. And you think hometown, like Allie Quigley, this is going to be like a no-brainer, like go for the defending champ. She's been down a lot this year. She's only shooting 34%.
Interesting.
So if I'm going to pick anyone to get hot and go wild in this, I think it's going to be the weekend of Kelsey Plum. I think she's a dark horse, like all-star MVP winner, and I think she can absolutely take this. But is it too on the nose for us to pick KP, or do we have to go away?
No, you can absolutely pick KP. I wasn't going to, so I'm glad you're going to, because then I feel like if KP wins, you still win, or I still win. I mean,
all right, I'm throwing my chips behind Kelsey Plum. Do I need to bring this back up? So
I was gonna say, can you bring that back up one more time? Because I'm definitely not gonna pick Allie Quigley now. But I think I kind of want to go Jewel Lloyd.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna rep Seattle. We're gonna go Juloid. Yeah. The other bet, for those that don't know, on the Watch Your Work pod, I said that Ryan Howard was going to get more votes than Skylar Diggins Smith, I believe I said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being pretty close, right?
It was close, yeah.
Yeah. And Ryan Howard, I think, was leading up until like the week before.
Yep.
And then Skylar Diggins Smith used social media with her clown tweet to get back in the conversation.
That was the whole thing behind it. Yeah. Conspiracy brain.
That'll be fun. And that's this weekend, correct?
That's on Saturday. Yep.
And it's in Chicago, right?
It's in Chicago, but in a weird, I don't understand this, like the 3-point contest and the skills challenge on Saturday night, like not open to the public. Like it's going to be on ESPN, but they're just doing this in an empty gym. Like, I don't get it. Like,
are they booked out? Is the venue booked out?
No idea. It would be a totally WNBA thing to do, to book a venue.
They're like, sorry, Darius Rucker is here Friday and Saturday night. Wow, weird. That's so
all right.
bizarre.
So you got Jewel. I like this.
Yeah, so we'll take Jewel.
Perfect.
We'll take Jewel.
Totally abandoning Ryan Howard. Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Out.
No, well, I'm not out. No, we can't be out. I just lost. That's it. I just lost. All right, let's take a look at Top Shot Lifer. That's a great question, but I'm not going to talk about it and figure out because I don't know. But that is a great question if it had something to do with that. All right, let's take a look at the drop that happened yesterday, though, because I wanted to look at that together. Oh, maybe we start with the challenges since a bunch of challenges just came out. But I got to did they screw up the airdrops yesterday?
It sounds like it. It sounds like a couple of people that were deserving didn't get like all the packs they were supposed to.
I also just got 2 packs that I can't figure out why I got them. Like I got 2 airdrops that I don't.
So you have a best of set, correct?
No, I don't have. I'm missing the. I've been doing some consolidating. I'm missing the Asia Wilson. That's the only one that I'm missing right now.
No, but they didn't take that. They did that snapshot like the last week of June. So it was like
then that's why. That's why, because that just happened.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Do they not have any of these up yet? I thought they all right, maybe we'll start with the set first.
Yep.
We'll start with the sets first and look
so
at
some of the like the Meesman and Alyssa Thomas just closed, and it sounds like they just came up with like some all-star challenges for this weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right. It's the base set. Here we go. So it's the first one. So the whole thing, 16 moments, $209. Already 378 people have completed the whole thing, which is pretty cool. Have you completed the whole thing already?
No, I just crossed 20 of the 30 moments on there. So we got a ways to go. We got so many dupes in our packs.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm running into. And as Borland said in the chat, there you go. Howard is up 16% since the announcement. Let me see if it's on. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing screen and see if the announcement's on NBA Top Shot instead of just reading it from the Discord.
Right. Did you do any of the crafting for like DT or Candace?
No, I didn't have it for the Candace. And I thought about doing it for the DT because I had it, but I decided against it. And not because I think I've said this in a couple of other shows already. There was 2, so if there was going to be like 500 or less of those DTs, I probably would have done it. But when I saw it was going to be that many, I was like, maybe I'll just, instead of burning these moments, I'll just go get it after the fact. But what about, did you do both of those?
I did both. And I explained a little bit on Watch Your Work why I did, because I'm with you. I think the especially for the Tarasi, like it was probably going to be worth less than what it was going to cost to craft. So on that one I just played serial lottery, but on the Candace Parker one, the 2008 run it back I got was like the Katie Smith, who was one of the lower priced, and so I just decided to sell one of my other rares, which is like a Jason Tatum throwdown that I got in like one of those free packs that everyone was giving away about a month ago, and decided to go with that because I would have rather had that as a rare run it back than if I would have bagged like a Lisa Leslie or like a Becky Hammon in that rare pack. I probably would have just stuck with what I had.
Yeah. Right, which makes a ton of sense, right? When you have like the higher version of it, but when it's the lower one, it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
All right, it looks like, so here we go. We've got the Shining All-Star Game. So this one's for the All-Star Game. Submit a complete challenge with 9 specific moments. So here we go. We got 1 moment of the player with the most points, 1 moment of the player with the most rebounds, moment of the player with the most assists. And then here we go. The last field goal in each quarter. Okay, that's
Wow.
fun. I like that.
Yeah.
And then is that it? Wait, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I thought, okay, one moment from each of the all-star team captains. So Asia Wilson,
Gotcha.
Breanna Stewart.
Okay.
That's fun. I like that. And I know normally people are like, oh, the last field goal is so stupid. In an all-star game, I think that's actually kind of fun.
It's fun, like any kind of like random element in these challenges. Like I think that adds a bit of fun to it. Like my question is like, when did we get to adding so many emojis in our flash challenge text? Like, does every paragraph like deserve its own emoji on here? Like that seems like a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot of emoji. All right, so this one's only 2. Let's go back to that one though. Let's go back to what you just, because I moved too quickly. Let's see this. Yeah, we do have a lot of emojis going.
Just a lot.
And it makes me wonder, right? Did they pick the emoji first or the wording first?
I think they definitely picked, especially a scoring machine. You look like that. Is that the machine that you're going with as a robot? Because I would have like gone like fax machine, or that's pretty, I don't know, maybe that's a boring emoji. Yeah.
All right, let's look at the 3.1 too. I wanted to see that since we were just talking about it. That's cool. So is it just those two for the, it's just those two. The 3.1, here we go. One moment of every player in the 3-point contest.
That's
and
cool.
then additionally 2 3-point moments are required from the team of the 3-point contest winner. That's fun.
Wow. Yeah.
I like that one. And so we already know you'll need Atkins, Howard, Lloyd.
Yep.
All right, Gay, Allie.
So since I picked KP, what other 3-point moments are there
for Las Vegas, right?
For Las Vegas. That's a good question.
Let's do it. Let's look it up right now. And I'm realizing I probably need to get a Howard moment at some point.
Yeah. It's nice that one went up a little bit. I had to sell that. I packed 2 of them kind of in an earlier drop and sold one for that Candace deal.
All right. So Kelsey Plum has a 3.
Okay.
And
Kelsey Plum has a 3.
Right.
Liz.
Yep. That's fun that Liz has a 3. And then is that it? That's it. All right, that's it. So those are your 2. Luckily, I think over the course of time, I will have sent you enough Kelsey Plums for all of these challenges.
Build my own like custom flash challenge out of like things Mike have sent me. Yeah.
Is there anything like how have you been approaching kind of collecting stuff as they've started to roll out new moments, whether it's through these like fandom challenges, these flash challenges? Like, has it been similar to what you did last summer? Has it been a little bit different? Like how have you been approaching it?
I think it feels a lot different than last summer. I feel like we were all still sort of just like our teeth have been cut in Top Shot, like almost down to the gum, where we're just like, what are we even doing? But I think for most recently, it's been just a lot of be strategic about like what we're doing, like go for packs when you can. If it's a challenge, you really have I've really had to analyze like, what do I want to buy into when it comes to a challenge? Especially some of these ones that are like these kind of weekly WNBA like flash challenges, like the ones they do on the weekends, like have required a lot of dupes and been a really low mint count. And I know like the first time that happened, it was a Natasha Cloud, and I like bought that at like $30 the moment it was released, thinking, oh my God, this only has like 1,200 like mints. Like how is this only $30? And then 2 weeks later, it's like down to 13, and it just kind of stuck there. So you do feel a little bit just like, I don't even know what to do. So I'm very much in your boat of like, if I have it, I will go for it. I bought a $6 aerial powers today to complete the Niceman. And that's about what I will invest into completing most of these challenges.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm at too. Like if I find something, like if I have 9 of 10 moments and it's sub $10, I like, okay, I'll probably go get it.
Right.
And that's not even just for the W. So I don't want anyone to misconstrue that I'm like, oh, I do that for the NBA. Like I'm not doing that for anything right now. I'm just kind of sitting back until things start to get a little better.
Yeah. And I haven't touched like NBA things for a while. So like, I think most folks know that I'm just a huge Spurs fan, and like, I am trying to figure out like am I going to want a Keldon Johnson for this like fans challenge, or is it going to be like the Kings and some of these other teams, and like the player that like shows up is one that's already been shipped out? Like,
Dude,
how
yeah,
often is?
because Keldon's not gonna stay on the Spurs,
I
right?
don't
Like,
think so.
I can't figure out what they're doing. Like,
Same.
I mean, I could, especially because Pop has been interviewed over the years so many times where he's like, "Yeah, I understand tanking, not for me. I'll never do it. I can't do that." I'm like, "Well, you're the general manager had a different idea, because
And
they get rid of all their guys."
and he still hates the 3-point line. And here we are, like trying to rebuild a team in 2022 without like a coach who loves the 3-point line. I'm not sure our timeline is like totally right here.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if he sticks around too this year, or if he's getting ready to be done.
Well, who's the coach in Philadelphia before Doc?
Brett Brown.
Brett Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
He's back on the staff, and that seems like a sneaky
God,
replacement.
I hope Brett Brown is back, just because he has one of the most insane Northeastern accents of all time. It's like a little bit Providence-y, Providence, Rhode Island, with a little bit of Boston. He just sounds like a drunk Bostonian at all times. So I do, God, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean, the squad goals is such a weird thing. I really like it in theory. I don't love this version of it, and hope it looks different in the future. And again, right, if you Frank the Tank. No, Frank the Tank just got picked up by the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Frank Kaminsky, officially a Hawk now. I saw that today.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did we wow. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this. It is downpouring right now. Full deluge. Not that you guys need to know that, but I heard a car beep and I looked and saw that it was downpouring. Did we hit most of is there any other topics you feel like we need to hit with what's going on in the W right now, or WNBA Top Shot in general?
I think we hit a lot of like our WNBA like Top Shot stuff. Like, I think there's some good chat questions just about like pay equity and like good question. When is this gonna happen?
Yeah.
This is good. That's such a long-term like conversation, but I'm like, Mike, I'm interested in kind of like your takes. Cause I mean, you say you're like just like getting into this now, but you sort of like dipped your toe in last year. Like you're sort of, I think you're familiar-ish with just like the W, but sort of like we saw some, sorry, I'll get to my question in a second. We saw some things this week just with like what viewership has been like. And a lot of the games that are like on the ESPN network have been like the views are up for like their Saturday afternoon, their Sunday afternoon games, featuring a lot of like Mystics and Sun and kind of high profile name players. Like what are the teams that are like bringing you to like the TV, or like what are you interested in watching from the W this year?
So I treat it just like NBA League Pass kind of. So yeah. I've been paying attention to, I'm sorry, there is a truck just like laying on the horn, and it is, I again am very good at multitasking, and I'm so close to losing my mind right now. It's been going on for like 2 minutes. I've been muting on and off, and I'm just like, my brain is screaming right now. No, but I treat it a lot like NBA League Pass, where I like when the Celtics aren't playing, I gravitate towards players that are fun, right? And so luckily I'm in New York, so we get a lot of the Liberty games anyways, but Sabrina is incredible. Like, it's such a fun watch, and also has this like swagger to their game that is like intoxicating. It's so fun to watch. Right. So Sabrina, I like watching a lot of the fast-paced teams. So we watched like anytime the Aces play, whether you're an Aces fan or not, the speed in which they play is usually a lot of fun. And I feel like that's only going to get faster as they get used to Becky Hammond's system. But like we watched the Minnesota game, and I think it was the first time I'd done underdog in a while for the W. And I was like, and Kelsey wouldn't give me any help. I was like, what do you think on this? She's like, I don't know. The one thing she told me, and I'm not blaming her because I did it myself, was like the under on aerial powers. Aerial powers at like 19 in the first half. Right. And her over under was 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and had 19 in the first half. I'm like, sick. But for me, it's really been like storylines of players. So anytime, again, it's going back to the Aces because Liz Cambridge, but like like that stuff, right? Like that
Yeah.
stuff that gets me excited is what will get me to turn on League Pass. And we're also in this weird sweet spot of sports where there's not a lot, like unless you love day-to-day baseball, like, and no, listen, I like
Yeah.
baseball, and July baseball is tough for me. So now's like the time that I usually like expand into other stuff. And so it's been fun to just like see what's on. And we have the League Pass too, which has been great. So that's kind of a long, it's Borland says that's what you get for underestimating. Yeah. How many times has Power scored more than like 16 points in their career? I feel like it's not a huge amount, right? Like that.
She has her moments, but then she'll like disappear for 3 weeks. So this is the aerial Powers experience that you're getting. It's like she will score like 8 points in like 4 straight games and then blow up for 35.
It was incredible.
It was amazing.
But I know that was a long answer, but that is kind of like, I really do treat it the same, where it's just storyline stuff. Yeah. And I saw this too, that this got announced like right before we got on, that Powers and Sabrina were players of the week this past week. So there we go.
And I like Finney too. Like Jackie is one of the best players to watch this year.
Yeah.
Like she is just ferocious on the perimeter and taking it to the rim as a guard. Like what you said about the Aces is absolutely true. Like they're must watch basketball from any level. Yeah.
They fly, and that's been fun. And Atlanta's been fun too, especially because I don't think they had a lot of expectations to do much. And I know they benefited from a kind of a softer schedule earlier on. But I think everybody, when they saw Atlanta, assumed that they were going to be the soft spot in their schedule. So, that one's been fun as well.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think I gravitate. My heart lies a little bit in like the Mystics organization. Elena Del Don is one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Rui Machida is becoming my favorite player in the league. And so the 6 minutes a game that she gets, like I'm absolutely locked in as any person could be. And that's where I'm at too. But also just whatever's on is great. Covering these like Phoenix games, like being on Central Time and stuff, like games start at like 9:30 and 10. That's been a struggle. So like anything we can watch at like noon on Saturday afternoon, like that's my sweet spot. Yeah. That's my sweet spot.
Perfect Zero said, because I want to do this too before we give it away, said I need that Rui. Well, I'll tell you what, Perfect Zero, let me just double check something real quick here. Let me just double check because I'm pretty sure I snagged one, and that might be the giveaway if that is what I have in there. Maybe we'll do that. Wow. Just for you, Perfect Cereal, who you once was a neighbor, no longer lives close.
Speaking of having been in New York, I feel like a different person now. Like I feel like more in tune to just like the media, to sports, to just engaging with the larger world. Yeah.
There it is. There's Rui. How was the New York experience for you? So you were here during Pride too, which is like a crazy time to be in New York.
Oh, it was just bananas. Like just with trying to walk streets that were built in like, I mean, because we were like in Chelsea neighborhood, like the morning of for like an appointment, and like trying to walk like sidewalks this wide with like that crew. But we had lunch like sort of at the end of the parade routes. It was awesome just to watch like floats and everything go through. We went to a taping of Seth Meyers. Like it was a great experience. Yeah.
That was technically like one of Kelsey and I's first dates. I don't know if she told you that, but we did. And it was by happenstance. We were just like walking around and somebody was like, hey, do you guys want to go see the taping? And we're like, yeah, sure.
Always say yes to that.
Yeah. Seth Meyers is the best.
Absolutely agree. It was the coolest experience. So yeah.
Did you get any good food?
Yes, we stayed in Brooklyn, and I would love to remember the name of the pizza place so I could give it a shout out. But it was one of the most like incredible kind of like Neapolitan type pizzas that we had. We had like some like spicy artichoke and like one pie of like prosciutto and like just love it. It was great.
Wait, I'm sorry, this is now turning into a different show. But did you stay in Brooklyn?
We did.
Whereabouts?
We were just sort of on the southern edge of like Williamsburg and everything. So it was still like a half hour to get into to actually get in like city proper, but it was great.
It's a half hour to get anywhere.
Yeah.
I lived over there for a little while before making our way over to Astoria. I will say, so we went to I think it was Sunday. It was Sunday we went to Pride. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that I at the Newark airport. Shout out Jeb, who was stuck at the Newark airport the week I went to
Definitely.
NYC for like 82 hours. So we went to a party like the last day because Kelsey's brother was in town. And it is, I mean, I think this conversation has come up before, but this is like, it was hammered home that I'm like officially old now. And it's just, everyone was just like, oh, 37. Wow. I'm like 15 years younger than you. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Love those conversations.
Cool. This is great. And they're like, you look way better for your age than I thought you were. And I was like, yeah, because you think 37 is dead. That is what you think 37 looks like. It's tough. It's tough.
I turned 38 in 2 weeks, and I'm like trying to grapple with all of that. Yeah.
See, but now, 37 is a weird one, though. I think there's like, I feel like as you get closer to 40, then you just like fully lean into it. And you're like, I'm just at a different phase of my life now. Where 37, you're still grappling with, you're like, I'm actually mid 30s, though, you know?
We're going to officially hit late 30s. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jeb saying 30 is too old. Well, Jeb, here's the thing, man. You're fake young at this point. I know everyone thinks you're like the young one. You're like 27, bro. So, like, that's not even, your sleep's going to be tough for you soon.
That's where the old starts. The moment you hit 27, like that's where the old hits.
Yeah.
No lie.
Yeah. It's tough. It's a tough scene. So enjoy it because you got like 6 days left of that, Jeb. All right. I want to be conscious of your time. I feel like I told you it was going to be 30 minutes and now we're 46 minutes in. So someone told you the other day they thought 30 was middle-aged.
Oh God. And like the industrial age. My God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
All right. We're gonna spin for this Rui here. Last call. You're gonna like the stream, subscribe, put hashtag Forge into the chat. And then Kevin, so Watch Your Work is Tuesdays at 9:30, correct?
Yep.
Eastern time.
9:30 Eastern time.
But plug some of the other stuff you're doing too, though.
Yeah. So you said Watch Your Work. This is part of the Team Hole Network. We are going to be doing so the Commissioner's Cup is going to be on July 26th this year,
Nice.
which is my birthday. So we're going to be doing playback for that with some giveaways and fun stuff. I write for honestly, it's one of the earlier kind of websites covering WNBA kind of exclusively. It's Winsider, WINSD. Or SIDR. And I get to cover the Mercury for them. If you sign up for their Patreon, I also do a fantasy basketball newsletter every other week. Their Patreon sign up is like $3 a month. So go do that. And yeah, that's the world that we live in. And then the other plug that I'll give is to folks like Snapper and Mac Attack, who built a really cool Discord for WNBA collecting.
Wait, they built that?
This conversation, right? Yeah, they did.
Oh, I thought they were just mods over there. I didn't know they built the damn thing. That's incredible. Shout those guys out. That's awesome.
Hopefully they show up in the chat and tell me I'm wrong, but I thought that they were.
No, they
are
right.
The kind of the runners of all this. And
right.
Yeah, so the WNBA collectors community on Discord, they're great, and there's been a good conversation point, and you get to see all the lineups that I throw into DFS and lose, and it's a great spot to sort of do challenge speculation. So
that's
a lot of fun. Yeah.
I want to say like shout outs to Kevin too, because I feel like you just started doing this, right? Like not that long ago, and now you're doing stuff with Winsider, and I feel like you're, I don't know, potential career shift down the road or something. So it's pretty exciting not to throw that pressure on you.
Wow.
No, I just mean like it's been cool seeing you go from, I don't know, it feels like you just started doing this a few months ago, or like I don't know, 6-8 months ago, and now it's cooking.
This has been a lot of fun. It sort of started like 6 months ago with sort of the writing and content side, and part of it was just because the Team Hold area was just open to having a space to discuss it. I would say Top Shot has been this cool avenue for actually, like, for lack of a better term, just getting dudes to talk about the WNBA. And there hasn't been a lot of space for that. And to have folks like Snapper, Mac Attack, yourself, Kelsey, other folks who have sort of like been open to watching more, but needed the excuse to do it. Like, this is a great place to do that. So yeah. I'm glad we have this.
No, me too. I'm thankful for it. It's been nice to. It's always good to get other people's perspectives and other voices on here, and
Yeah.
and you guys are passionate about it, and you've helped other people become passionate or find their fandom in it. So
Right.
shout you guys out. So Tuesdays 9:30,
Yep.
hit up Watch Your Work, follow them on Twits, all the stuff. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Forge Horst or Windforge. Windforge is probably the better
Fellow
way.
Nebraskan Brian Windhorse.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you think you can have like a full meme run like he did this past week?
I mean, that was like some King Lear shit that he was just like throwing into WNBA free agency of just like why is that? Why is that? And I could tap into some like high school like one act theater and like pull that out. I think so. Yeah.
As someone who has done live theater and improv, to watch that happen in real time was incredible because I have just seen people do similar things where you're kind of like, oh my God, clear out and let this person go for like 2 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. Like even the hosts are just kind of like, all right, Brian, do your thing, man.
He got to talk about, I forget what the podcast was, but that's what he talked about. He said like he only did that because Stephen A wasn't on First Take that day, and he just felt like he had more time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, I do not think this is a compliment, so I'm not taking it as that. So.
Yeah. Who would have guessed? Like, I don't want to turn this into I hate Stephen A. Smith, but like, who would have guessed? Like, you remove someone who makes a show about them, and like, other good stuff happens. You know, that's the goal.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin. Thank you so much, man, for taking time out of your day to come hang out. This was dope.
Hey, thanks for the time and just asking me to be on. This was great.
Yeah, we'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
All right, Kev, get out of here. We'll see you soon.
Cheers.
Later, man. All right, we'll spin this wheel too. Actually, we're not going to spin the wheel yet. I'll let people go ahead. You can still do it. # Forge, like, subscribe, do all those things. I wanted to look at the burning stuff real quick over on the NBA side of things. And again, this is for Rui. I thought it was so funny today, guys and gals.